So this is unit operations on the UConn campus. And a unit process is a step in a chemical operation, so they can be seen pretty much anywhere where chemical process is taking place. So my first example is a water heater. These can be found in any of the academic buildings, any of the dorm buildings, the library, pretty much anywhere on campus that's indoors. And so what happens with a water heater is that heat is transferred from the hot air to the cold water. So cold water comes in, and then the air from the room comes inside. The pump heats up the air, and then that heat from the air, once it comes down here, will warm up the water, and then the air will come back out once it has cooled down from transferring its heat to the water, and then the hot water will come out as heat. The second example can be found in pretty much any of the labs on campus. We have in the sinks the distilled water taps, and so in order for the distilled water to get to the tap and through the sink to be used, it has to get distilled first, and that's an example of a mass transfer process. So what happens is the water's boiled, and then in this condensing chamber that you see here, that water condenses and then falls down into a separate chamber that stores the clean water. And tap can look anything like this. They kind of look just like regular taps, but there's this mass transfer process going on before it gets to the tap. So another example would be refrigeration. We have refrigerators in the dorm rooms. We have them in the dining halls, kind of all over the place as well. And this is a thermodynamic process, so that kind of differs from a heat transfer process, because in here you have water that's being circulated throughout the refrigerator, and it gets cooled, and then it moves, cools down the refrigerator. Once it's warm, it gets cooled down again, and it just keeps going through that cycle over and over again. Whereas with heat transfer, you have a fluid of a higher temperature that is being cooled down by a fluid of a lower temperature. So that's kind of more what's going on specifically in the condenser. It says kind of over here, it can be water cooled or air cooled, but the condenser is what cools down that vapor, and then once it cools down, it can be circulated back throughout the refrigerator to cool the whole thing.